Victims of Ponzi schemer Bernie Madoff are so desperate to get their money back that some of them are willing to sell the claims for just pennies on the dollar. And of course, there's interest from investors who are willing to bet the claims will make them money. The latest exclusive from our very own Charlie Gasparino, and a friend of ours who knows a little something about insider shenanigans on Wall Street, Ross Mandell. Charlie, I'm going to start with you. Set up the story for us.
Well, you know, the entire pool, I guess the entire ripoff is something like $50 billion, maybe the largest Ponzi scheme ever. The trustee that's running the sort of recovery effort, Lee Picard, is basically recovered $1.5 billion. You know, you're not going to get all your money back. So what you do is you basically trade your claim. If you're owed $1 million, you can trade it for some percentage of that, and it's like something like 20 cents on the dollar is the going rate right now. And they are trading. Brokerage firms are making a market in these claims.
That's how I want to know who's doing it. Which body?
UBS and Deutsche Bank made them, and they were trying to make a market on a $250 million face value claim that traded. Well, the bid was something like 20. The ask was 28. So.
You know, Charlie, I'm going to bring it over to Ross. Ross, you and I have been trading a long time, my friend. When I saw Charlie with this story, I said, boy, who would give 20 cents on the dollar? Even the math right now, Charlie says, well, $1 billion out of 50 that's 2%. Right now, it's 2%. They've found. Why would you pay 20 on your claim?
I think it's a great thing. I think that you know, there's a solution now, an alternative for people that you know, might need the money right now. I think it's terrific.
And it also depends on the claim.
Well, go ahead, Charlie.
No, it depends on the claim. You know, maybe some claims are only worth, you know, 1 cent on the dollar. But the claim that went out last week, and by the way, there was speculation in the market, was the claim from the Wilpons. You know, the Fred Wilpon, the owner of the Mets, in for Madoff for a lot of money. No one knows exactly how much, but the speculation in the market, that 250 face value chunk that traded earlier in the week was the Wilpon money.
What do you think? Go ahead, Russ.
You know, I would suspect that Charlie's correct. I've heard those rumors as well, and it would make a lot of sense. And I don't know if he's been approached and if they're willing to comment.
Well, I will tell you that we put a call into Mr. Wilpon. He has not returned our call.
I'm trying to figure this out, Charlie. Help me out here. 20 cents on the dollar. I'd be running to get 20 cents on the buck. Why wouldn't I hit that bid?
Well, he wanted 28 cents, apparently, if that's him.
This is Ross. And Ross, you know,
Eric, that's why you're a successful trader. That's why you're a successful trader.
That you've been accused. Let me do this right. You've been accused of a similar scheme. You declare your innocence. You're on our show quite a bit. 20 cents on the dollar. You would sell that too, wouldn't you, Ross?
You know, there's an expression in trading. Sometimes you just got to hit the bid. And in this case, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think the banks that are offering this sort of solution, I think they should be commended. I think it's great. I think we just got to keep the government and the regulators away from this whole thing.
Let's do it. Let's bring this out. I'm going to bring the panel in, Ross.
Stop asking for
you
trouble.
You opened it up. This is a regulation problem. We had a Christopher Cox who was asleep at the wheel, Charlie, right? When this
wasn't
this
just
stuff was
him.
going
Remember, the Madoff scheme went back decades. The SEC looked at it about 6 times over the past sort of 15 years, right? Decades, meaning 2 decades, I mean. But they've looked at it about 6 times over the last 15 years. And it wasn't just Chris Cox that looked at it. Remember, he was the SEC chief. I guess his term ended in 2008. You know, it was Arthur Levitt. It was Bill Donaldson. I mean, this went back. And it's easy to blame the guy at the top when you have the bureaucrats in the middle who will make it,
the most incompetent human being who's ever
work
been appointed to any high-level position. Chris Cox.
Agreed.
Yeah? Am I right?
Wait, what's worse? What's better about the other guys?
Oh, Chris
Arthur
Cox.
Levitt was a wonderful.
He was at the helm when all this stuff was going on.
Do you remember the dot-com bubble? Do you remember the dot-com bubble?
What's his Markopoulos? Remember this guy sending Chris Cox letter after letter saying there's no way this guy could be making this.
I believe he sent others letters as well.
Go ahead, Russ.
Guys, it wasn't just the SEC. They were members of the NASD.
Yeah, Mary
and the
Shapiro.
New York Stock Exchange. Mary Shapiro was in charge of that ship. And, you know, she did such a great job that every one of those brokerage firms and banks basically went insolvent the last few years.
You do realize that Mary
what
Shapiro
did the
had
Obama administration
enforcement on that.
They made her the head of the SEC.
When she was head of the NASD and the self-regulator.
Ultimate responsibility on this, it was Christopher Cox.
No, ultimate responsibility is the front line responsibility was the NASD and what's known as SIFMA, Excuse me, FINRA.
That's correct.
Keep getting these
Well, today it's now
acronyms.
FINRA,
But
with
they
the
provide the
combination
front
of the
line
NAC and the New York
enforcement of the
Stock
securities laws. You know that. You know that. And they looked at it.
But the investigation should have opened. I mean, there should have been investigation after investigation, and they should have caught this way before.
Well, why are you just blaming Chris Cox? I mean,
it's Chris Cox.
This went back 20 years.
We're going to say thank you very much.
Guys, let me just give you something so you have it. In a 3-year period, my small little boutique firm had 14 routine examinations in a 3-year period.
Yeah.
In a 14-year period, Bernard Madoff, who had an enormous amount of capital, supposedly,
well, you didn't run
at least according to the regulators, only had 3
that's because you weren't the chairman of the NASDAQ stock market in the 1980s.
We got to leave it there, guys. I'm sorry, coming up against a break.
Correct.
Thank you, guys. All right, coming up is the Obama administration and General Motors discriminating against non-union retirees. We're going to ask Combs. We're going to go inside this pension battle next on Money Rocks.
I'm a really big deal in